I sit unseated by my miraculous development. Your greatness. A grape? No. Fill your cup, rather. Ah! At your request, your majesty. The mantle overflowed with servants. From the hard relic dawned above my brow dripped a ruby sand. The lower of my step filled with beacons of brides laying against the crimson and gold-covered stairs. One step below laid the wine baskets. Tuft straw weaved and lined fruits jammed in between each brown bottle. The bubbles foamed slowly as each berry squished against the dark glass. The throne laid heavy on the carpet-lined rock. The cushion of my seat, padded neatly with each felted stitch cleanly tucked away, comforting my back and arms perfectly. Gold rushed from the tip-top out to the dense legs of this chair. An ornament button was affixed onto each row of padding tracing the bow. My feet laid flatly covered over by my bright red gown, weighed down by hurtful, reflective jewelry. My sleeve stopped just before hiding my green and purple rings, also casted in gold. The fool seeks for thee, for your highness has grown bored. No, I said. Say not another word, my liege. The room sat sunder and suave. From the next step down, and the kings who rise do so here, upon my stone block lives fortune in excess. Not just coin or cloth, but daggers, weapons, lances, axes, rapiers, patchwork flags, and ruined idols depicting defeated gods of defeated men stuck underneath loads of trophies, all sought in my name. The room expanded bigger than what these fortunes would encumber, barely fitting the walk down my seat. Good sir, your highness, we have struck claim to new land in your name. Wonderful. The inhabitants having either been killed or exiled under your new rule. The room would dare to stop shaking with my gaunt expression. Killed or... Their arms flew through the room in hilarity. Under your new rule! And from our previous magistrate there would be no better words to say. Run or be killed, your highness. And the land? Their houses, bearing no reasonable resemblance to ours, are to be torn and demolished. Did we execute? All but days ago, your highness. Lay your virgin eyes upon my kingdom. All was to be forged and pillaged in my name. Men ripped into halves, with children on one side and horses on the opposite. To you we bring your boon, your highness. The partner of the usurped, now widowed, beaten, stabbed, and patched, and naked. The defeat of it all waved into this vast and wide culture and cured the metal soaking into the rust. With this replenishment of steel, do bow your head. On your command, your honor. Eat them or dismember them. Let them be free, free to return to that wasteland, that horrid continent sought in my noble name. They would walk over coals to burn through their souls, their flattened feet charred up to their knees, finally falling onto the stomach of the one who dared to reach out to that returning eclipse. Home, that planetary focus of home, now dissolved in acidic tar pits. The widow looked up, peering just underneath my chin. Around my neck laid a peace gifted through reasonable torture. She spoke a language no servant could speak, first mouthing what seemed like a prayer, until her chest trembled and her eyes clamped shut. Those eyes, seeing putrid handlings, undid themselves with seeping abolition.
Bastard!
And in the same breath,
Fool! Foolish ruler! Chuck and die!
The guards kicked in her knees and pulled her hair up to show me her chin. I wished to stop them before they ripped open her throat. Melted last words forever stretched across the floor in symmetrical poolings. Each step taken with her drowned the legs of my madmen, harmful, avenging madmen. Why would you kill her? Released the foolish ruler. I did not say so!
I will make this right.
That guard was knocked to the floor as an axe was placed onto its skull, now by the next guard. For you, my lord! They hailed. No! On your order! Stop them! As these two servants pulled the Stain warrior to the ground with spears through its back. The brides cheered and gathered closer to the flooding, dipping their fingers and covering their hands. Slew now the next guard, and for his sake, another. A wealthy war room breathed in warm blood. The last noble now drew his sword, and from the last noble's shoulder, You cannot kill anyone! You cannot kill anyone else! As you command, your highness! That dawning silver saber mirrored off the golden glow of my throne. That searing seer planted flowers in his heart as the petals flew out through his chest. The protector blinked its last expression. In your name, my lord! It fell backwards as its smile curled to the ceiling. The women grew hysterical with laughter, barely breathing before blowing out more throaty laughter. Their high-sounding rasp pushed the air off the trophies. That crimson drink flew to the corners of my rug. Handprints spread around the bounty of each bride. They rubbed into each other with dark lotion sliding warming bodies unsafely around harsh rock and cinder stones. Models of beauty posing in persons. Heating from fresh flesh struck cold pins through Russian oil. Mistresses humped over each other, crawling their hands across every smooth body part. Rolling tongues and fingers found their way inside watery holes. A silence was made before the noises of tongues finding warmth once again. My room reeked of brown sex. I stood to find my lowest step was slicing my treasures, each one with drips and bruises. And printing turned scratches to scars, blisters to bleeding, and as that coldness tortured, new wounds tasted warm. A bite winced the shrew girl, those teeth gritted with skin. Small bites so as to not overeat. I pushed back, unable to shift my toweled stone. A moaning bride stopped and huffed in a laugh. The frantic delicate devoured the top of her fingers. Dripping in delicious terror, everybody wanted to eat.
Begin.
Sharpness drove into a shoulder. A smiling menace accepted loose ears. Offerings made their first appearance. Shrieking rose lovingly up my stair. There was no violence with this toast. To humans, this hand. Cheeks were bitten out, toes ripped with more still attached, elbows were bargained. A lunatic shook with an orgasm as she fed her friends her fingers one by one. Gnawing through hair, chests scratching cleanly, riding faces gorged upwards. How starved they were, how disgustingly starved.
Fuck these trophies.